A dry Bristol Motor Speedway, all lit up and ready for the NASCAR Nationwide Series to run the Food City 300. Let's go trackside and get it started.
And now, for the most famous words of motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshals, Medal of Honor recipients Sammy Davis, Joe Marm, and Jim Taylor.
Driver, start your engine.
Fired up when you're ready. We're going to check on the front. I got you there, buddy.
F4.
Last same deal. I get him to
6 away.
About 50 minutes later than scheduled, but certainly great to see it happen. Engines are started. We're about ready to go racing tonight here in Bristol. Mentioned Kevin Harvick before, one of the Concrete Kings. Kevin, one of the great victors here at Bristol Motor Speedway over the years in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He's got a little work to do to get to the front, though. He's our in-race reporter, and he's on the air next. Ferris wheel may not be spinning around, but the wheels on some race cars are starting to spin as the field begins to roll from the pit lane of Bristol Motor Speedway out onto the world's fastest half mile. 4 pace laps before the green flag and tonight's 300-lapper gets underway. Kevin Harvick, 5-time Bristol winner in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, starting 13th tonight. Last time Kevin Harvick won here was with Ernie Cope as his crew chief after starting 13th. Ernie Cope is Kevin's crew chief tonight. He does line up 13th, and he's our ESPN in-race reporter. Let's catch him while it's in a semi-quiet moment.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Chair at the ESPN. See you trying to get back in line. You good to talk now?
Hey, boy.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for talking with us tonight. Let's go straight to our mailbag question. I think it comes from a place that you're familiar with. Matthew in Bakersfield, California asks, how do you balance patience with aggressiveness over the next 300 laps?
No reason to be patient tonight. We're here to try to win a race and have fun. So you just go as hard as you can go and have some fun with it.
All right, well, we'll keep a camera especially for you and watching you create some excitement there. Hey, your best guess as to what to expect from this racetrack now that some of that rubber's been washed off. I know all practice was up around the top.
Yeah, I still think that the top is definitely way faster. It's 3 or 4 tenths faster than the bottom. So you have to plan on racing up at the top. Track position is going to be key. You just have to play the strategy game and see what happens, but it should be fun.
All right, Kevin. Hey, thanks for talking with us tonight. We'll look forward to following your progress up towards the front and talking with you later on.
Thank you.
Kevin Harvick, our ESPN in-race reporter, starting 13th in this one. High-definition onboard views here at Bristol, riding with Ty Dillon, who carries our Chevy camera. Kevin Harvick's got the Hunt Brothers Pizza on board. Trevor Bayne has the AdvoCare on board. Regan Smith, the Nationwide Insurance camera. Elliott Sadler has the Napa on board. Check that. Chase Elliott has the Napa on board. Elliott Sadler. And they're even back-to-back on the list of cameras,
do this
too.
all the time.
Elliott Sadler has the Toyota on board. Hey, Kyle Larson's got the Goodyear on board, and Kyle Busch has the Nationwide Insurance camera.
You got that all straight now, Alan?
I'm telling you.
Got Chase Elliott, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch. My goodness.
I'm sure I'll mess that up again sometime tonight. Check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced coverage tonight from here in Bristol. Those 10 high-definition onboard views and more with Chase and Elliott at NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. How about imparting a little Napa know-how on you? Things to watch for tonight, what it's going to take to get it done.
Yeah, I think you're going to make your own groove. I think what that really means is the groove's going to be around the top. If you're going to find a way to pass cars, you're going to have to make your own groove to do it.
Okay, well, if everybody's going to be in your groove, then know how to use your bumper, because you're going to need that, as Elliott Sadler explained to us, that you're going to have to move some people out of the way here.
Well, you can do it that way too, but also tire management, because we saw how critical track position is going to be. Probably going to have to run tires a long time tonight. Drivers are going to have to really manage that.
And while we get ready for the start, some more know-how from pit road. Here's Jamie.
Well, in the March race here at Bristol, it was Chase Elliott's first ever race in a Nationwide Series car here. He finished 9th. Well, 9th wasn't good enough for the rookie. He and his crew chief, Greg Ives, made a list of things that they could improve on for this race. Well, improve they did. They qualified 4th today. Watch for that 9 car to be a factor tonight. Doc Punch?
Jamie, Regan Smith really wants to win this race, but folks, he really, really wants to win this championship. In order to do that, tonight he's got to take care of his tires and his track position. Yeah, that may mean some very unusual strategy on their team's part. Last August, he was running 4th here, and on the final pit stop, they left a lug nut loose. He finished 21st. They can ill afford to have that kind of mistake happen tonight. It'll cost him not only a race, but quite possibly a championship. Vince?
Elliott Sadler is 3rd in the championship standings, but this 11 team hasn't had a top 5 finish in 3 months. They know they've got to be better if they're going to have a shot at winning this championship. But this is the perfect place for Sadler to kickstart the stretch run. He's won here twice in the Nationwide Series, once in the Sprint Cup Series. Sadler and his crew chief, Chris Gale, believe this could be the place they could get it all turned around and head toward a championship, Alan.
All right, Vince, thanks. You saw, as Vince was talking and reporting, the jet dryers being run down the pit lane now that the racing surface is dried to get the pit road as safe as possible for when the action begins here on the Speedway. So we're still working a couple of extra laps of caution before the green flag. Ryan Blaney starting on the front row tonight, driving that very potent Penske 22.
Thinking my tank aren't working, it's just staying light blue, but should be all right. The easy number like 4,080.
If it's not working, just use 4,000. We'll go 4,000.
Lights on the tack being what they normally might use to have an easy gauge on whether they're approaching or over their pit road speed.
Yeah, it'll go to red once you get over that, so it gets you kind of an alert, but he's just going to have to do it kind of the way that when this first started, you just went off that number at the tack. So they're erring to the caution side of it by where instead of trying to figure out 4,080 on there, it's on 4,000, and you won't get caught for speed.
Because if you miss it the other way, we know what happens.
Yes, that makes for a long night.
Not good.
And from one young driver, Ryan Blaney, to another, driving the 20 car, Eric Jones.
Thank you guys for this weekend. I appreciate it. Been having fun, been learning, so keep it going here in the race and be there at the end.
18-year-old from Michigan. And getting ready to go for his first ever time here at Bristol. I mean, first ever time here at Bristol.
Well, what I've seen out of this kid, I think he's got a bright future in the sport.
Yeah, he's pretty quick study by what I see, but he's getting ready to get taught a few lessons here that he's going to remember. So let's see how he's able to adapt, keep himself up inside that top 10, and then race towards the end of this race.
So the shower that we had that started just before they were supposed to go do pre-race ceremonies and load the drivers aboard, changed the track from looking like it did during Cup qualifying earlier today to what that looks like now. Check out where the rubber and the amount of rubber is back into the corners. Earlier today during NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying.
You know, there's a lot of rubber there and what we saw, but these drivers are looking at the grip factor, and the grip factor is not coming from the rubber being down there as much as what that ground surface is up there, and that's what they're after, and that's still going to be there for them.
So I'll be curious to see how much track conditions change and how that affects what. You heard everybody, if you were with us earlier, talking about how the group was going to be right up by that wall, and some speculating as to whether or not the rain eliminating some of that rubber might change that grip level just a little bit. Will it be enough to make a difference? Good question. Still working on drying the pit lane? We'll take a break. We'll come back for the start of tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series action here in Bristol, Tennessee. Get ready for the opener of a NASCAR twin bill here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half mile. This high bank short track providing some great action for you tonight, and then again tomorrow night too when the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series takes the stage for the Irwin Tools Night Race. Our telecast presented by AutoZone is over on ABC starting at 7 Eastern Time. Qualifying earlier tonight, Kevin Harvick won the pole barely over Jeff Gordon. Yet another track record. Carl Edwards, the March winner here, starting in 3rd position, and it should be a very action-packed race. Tomorrow night, ABC at 7 Eastern Time. Picked up the pace on the pace car just a little bit, just to get everything up to proper temperature here for these drivers to get ready to go. A lot of drivers in this field who don't have a lot of time in the NASCAR Nationwide Series behind the wheel, but of course the short track's where you go to get some of that experience before they give you permission to move up to the mile tracks and then the 1.5 miles and so on.
Yeah, and that's a great idea, and certainly the way to do it. But there's short tracks, and then there's Bristol.
Yeah.
So getting your education here is certainly difficult, but it is exciting to be here, and all of those drivers either making their first or second start here at Bristol are in for a fun evening.
Heard about Ryan Blaney on the radio a little bit earlier. Doc, you got more on that?
Yeah, they're talking about the fact that the tachometer and the lights are not sequencing, and they use those lights to be able to know when they're coming down pit road, not the speed. And because the pit road speed here is 30 miles an hour, it is woefully slow and easy to get a pit road speeding penalty, especially under yellow. Now, the lights are not working apparently, but the tachometer has come back, and they're hoping it is right. They say, well, it might have gotten wet. They're not sure if the numbers are correct. Just going to tell him to be very, very careful and err on the side of being conservative, using the tach only to get on and off pit road.
Yeah, and that's certainly a concern. You don't want to get caught speeding, as we were talking about. But the other thing that's hard here, most other tracks where you have just one pit road that you come down, you can sit and you can focus on that tachometer and be fine. Here, under caution, you have to enter over off of turn 2 and come around, and as you go through turns 3 and 4 going that slow, and try to focus on where you're going, the cars around you, and look at your tach 2. There's a lot going on for that young man inside the car, but I'm sure that he'll handle it well. Just hope that it is that it's showing the right reading there for him.
That's a lot going on when you're on pit road, and then when you're trying to leave pit road, there can be a lot going on too.
Chris, I know it takes a lot of heads up thinking. If you can tell the difference between starting inside or outside when we're leaving pit road, if we're going to come off pit road in an even position or odd position, you know, with the cars on pit road and the cars on the racetrack, and it's tight, let me know. Obviously, anytime we can come out even is better.
Yeah, everybody is going to be fighting for that top groove, and the only way you get that on a restart is in that even position. Unless you're the leader, then you can choose the outside.
Yeah, very few times as a driver that you ever even consider giving up a spot, but this is certainly one of those situations to where if you could start in that outside lane, then you're willing to slow down just a second before you get to the exit of pit road and give up a spot so that you could start in that lane.
But everybody can't start up there. There's half of them are going to have to start on the bottom. That's why they're going to have to make their own groove. On these restarts, they're going to have to find a place or find a way to squeeze in line up on the high side.
Just make sure you don't outthink yourself.
Yes, yeah, exactly right.
And there'll be some give and take here early in the race, especially. Maybe not so much later.
Yes. Yeah, we saw him speed up a while ago, and I think part of it because I saw the drivers weaving a lot, and you could see the rubber come up. All the rubber wasn't washed off of there, and as they ride around slow here, it picks that rubber up. Even though the tires haven't heated up that much, there's enough there. You can see the rubber coming off of that, and so the drivers, I think, probably were as much influenced there in trying to speed that up just for a few minutes.
Yeah, I saw that. As they picked up speed, you can see some of the rubber they were picking up off the racetrack flying back off the tires. So hopefully they got them cleaned off and ready for a good start.
And obviously had to run the jet dryers back down the front stretch pit road here again to try and finish drying it up to make it safe, or as safe as possible for the first set of pit stops. Mentioned how here at Bristol coming down pit road there's a lot going on, and of course we have the two different sets of pit road rules, one for pitting under green and one for pitting under the caution flag.
Now, you see under green, you don't have to run that full length of both pit roads and around turns 3 and 4. You can come in on your prospective pit road and come back out on the same side. Now, under caution, it's different. Everybody runs the full length of both pit roads as well as the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. And the reason they do that is to make it seem like one pit road, not two, because when they had two pit roads here, it really caused a lot of confusion and it gave an advantage to the people on the front side.
Only track remaining with the dual pit roads. Used to be a few of them. Now Martinsville modified theirs, Darlington modified theirs, and so on. This obviously goes back a number of years, those modifications, and so the only place left with the dual pit roads, and that's the long time rule that NASCAR's employed now to try and even it out.
And it works good. I mean, you think that it's, kind of confusing, but it really does work pretty good.
Yeah, it is a challenge, and as these drivers, they've got a lot going on in their mind. If they get to that point of having to make a green flag pit stop, or if they have a problem, they'll probably need to be reminded by their crew chief or by their spotter, hey, you can come down the pit road that we're on, that we're using. You don't have to go in off of turn 2 if you're pitting on the front stretch there.
Ty Dillon lined up in 7th position for the start of this race.
The track look to you, bud. Looks like you don't have much rubber. Dry.
Yeah, that's kind of what we see. Actually, the pit road looks pretty good, too. They're still running the jet dryers down the front side, but everything looks pretty well ready to go.
We're getting there. There's a lot of rain.
Yeah, in a short time. Yeah, we had a big, hard shower come through here. It was intense for at least a few minutes.
And I really think that this rubber getting washed off, in my mind, is going to be even more of a disadvantage down on the bottom side for these guys a little bit. So we'll see how this plays out.
Starter showing the drivers a signal there as they cross the start-finish line of 3 fingers. So indicating that we should be ready for a start in 3 more pace laps. Just like the waiting game. You're not even waiting for them to drive the track. Now you're in the car on the track.
Yeah,
ready to go.
Yeah, this is tough. You can see.
Keelan's ready to go.
Yeah, he's waiting for Dad to get going there. He's excited about this, but knows there's a good chance he might go to victory lane here tonight. There's Dad in the car ready to go. But it is tough. You know, you're sitting there, you got yourself ready thinking that you're going out there and going to make the 4 pace laps and get ready to go, and now you've had to ride around. So it's tough. You know, drivers kind of get themselves, they have a clock kind of inside you that gets you ready to go and tells you when you need to be there. But they'll handle it. It's just, you're ready to go. You're sitting in there and want to get this started.
Like competitors in other sports, be it baseball, football players, whatever they are. They have their game day routine that they back up from the scheduled start time, be it a day game or a night game. And here the race was supposed to start at a certain time, and now that routine is backed up also.
They're checking their pit stalls to see how dry it is. You need that real secure footing to make those turns around the race cars.
So another lap and change before they cut them loose here at Bristol, and still we're listening in on everybody.
Man, finally, I was starting to get tired in here. Gonna have to pit for fuel here before long if we don't do something.
Yeah, he doesn't know what tired is yet. Wait till he runs around here for 300 laps. But I understand, that's pretty funny. At least he's got a good sense of humor, and he's keeping himself pretty calm here at the start of this race.
Well, if anybody was bored or lacking focus behind the wheel or on pit road, that's about to change in a big hurry, because you better be on your game when they cut them loose and head off into turn 1. And that's going to happen in 1 more lap.
Turn on the blender. That's what it's going to look like.
Mix them all up.
Yeah, this is really going to be exciting. I mean, these cars carry so much speed down in, and soon they have to drive them so hard. Just watching these drivers trying to make passes and figure out where they can do that and how they can do that throughout the night is going to be very entertaining. To us, I don't know about them.
Ready to go, finally, here at Bristol for the 65th NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at this beautiful racetrack. Kyle Busch has started on the outside row, chosen to start on the outside row. Ryan Blaney to his inside in that 22. Row 2, Kyle Larson, 42. Chase Elliott, 9. Elliott Sadler, 11. Eric Jones, 20. Ready to go racing here at Bristol, finally. Kyle Busch will lead. Ryan Blaney second. Kyle Larson under Chase Elliott. Still hasn't cleared him for third.
He's trying to make that bottom side work. Chase Elliott not wanting to give that spot up, though.
Yeah, it looked like he might have a chance to move in front of him, but didn't quite get him clear. I believe he's going to have to work on getting in the outside lane before the rest of the cars get there. Elliott Sadler's the next car behind him.
Yeah, and he's got about a 3-car length gap that he can work with right now and still trying to make that pass and not lose any more spots. That's what you want to know as a driver and see. See, now he's taking Andy's advice and following in line. Whoa, Chase Elliott out of control there.
Whoa, really out of control. Nice save, but a little ding on the right rear corner of that 9 car.
Now, I'd have to think right up against the wall, but it's still pretty damp up there. Those drivers can't get all the way against the wall.
Championship leader with a big scare in the early laps.
Yeah, I was watching him. He was pretty aggressive on that outside lane early. He gets a big run off turn 2 off the top side.
You see going up, tries to pick up the throttle early and drive up around. Could just be a little damp up there right now. Wow.
Ninth in the wall. Stay in it, stay low. All good, all good. Go on. Outside, corner, you are clear.
So glove saving a beauty, but cost them a few spots of track position for Chase Elliott. Back to 6th place. Could have been a whole lot worse.
Could have been worse and could have done a lot more damage. It doesn't look like it is very significant there. So did a nice job. And it doesn't seem to, things like that don't seem to faze this young man. That's the thing I think is most impressive about him.
Kevin Harvick trying to make some ground in that bottom lane, racing Regan Smith in the 7, Harvick in the 5. That's for 9th and 10th place.
Yeah, he's trying to make his own groove down on the bottom side because there's no place to go on the top. He's going to pass cars. He's going to have to figure out how to make this work.
Cale Conley just behind in that yellow stripes, number 33. Brendan Gaughan just ahead of this group in the 62.
The problem is you might get that car almost cleared enough, but there's not enough room to slide up in front of that. So you really have to be calculating and doing this. And a veteran like Harvick knows that. He's just seeing what he can work right now. This is a good time to test all of that.
Opening laps, track conditions changed. Are you more on eggshells than normal at all? I imagine you're always pretty tense here at Bristol.
Yeah, but you know these drivers had to be a little bit, because they had practiced up against the wall the entire time and not knowing what they may have up against the wall or in the middle of the racetrack. So I'm sure they were a lot more cautious.
Color of that upper lane all the way out by the wall beginning to change in a hurry and pick up some rubber quickly.
Right behind Kevin Harvick, you see Cale Conley. This is his second start here at Bristol. He made his first ever Nationwide Series start in the spring here.
And this is a different tire than these drivers and teams raced on here in the spring, and they like this tire a lot more, and it's because it lays down that rubber on this racetrack. It gives them a better feel of the car, and it helps them with the rubber on the track.
So leader Kyle Busch has caught the tail end of the field. Remember, we talked about getting your momentum broken in traffic and that perhaps being a concern for tonight.
It will become a factor at some point in time.
He's catching slow cars right now, so he can make quick passes on them. They're yielding to the leaders. But when you start getting up into these cars a little bit farther, they're not going to move over. They're going to try to stay on the lead lap, and it's going to be a real problem for the leader.
Because most of those that are fast enough to hinder his progress are going to make him go to the bottom to pass them. And we'll see how he negotiates that. You see there, that was Morgan Shepherd getting down out of the way.
Next car ahead is Kevin Swindell in that yellow 93. How far ahead is Kyle looking? So you're seeing that 93 out the camera from the car, and you're seeing he's running the high lane, so you know you're going to have to go low unless he changes his mind. How far ahead is Kyle watching that traffic?
Yeah, you have to look as far as you can. A couple you can see right here. Kyle Larson trying to take advantage of that move right there. Gets to the outside of Ryan Blaney.
Almost worked too.
I tell you, that's a great. Well, Blaney
still
had
might.
the deal, but he's seeing the car up ahead. So you're trying to look 2-3 cars ahead of you, Alan, and trying to anticipate this and seeing what they're doing. And that's exactly what Ryan Blaney did right there. He stayed down there knowing that they were going to come up on a couple of other cars, so he was willing to give Kyle Larson that. If they were in open track, he wouldn't have done the same thing.
Larson going to try and see if he can take advantage of a little momentum lost. Now Blaney clear of the lap cars for a moment.
Larson drives in a little bit deeper. That's where he's making things a little more aggressive behind you.
Well, you have choices here. You can drive it in deep. You've got the banking to secure you there, but does that allow you to get to the throttle and be able to make a pass? You're not going to pass anybody, really just out driving them down into the corner. See Harvick now trying to make another part work here, see if he can get around the outside of Brian Scott.
Harvick in the 5, Scott in the 2, Regan Smith in the 7.
You see somebody like Harvick not drive it quite as far in there, but he will drive it. He'll get back to the gas and drive off the corner harder, as we see Larson now take that second spot on the right.
It almost looked like Ryan Blaney gave him that spot. They've got tired of looking at him in the mirror right on his bumper.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Blaney might not have, his car might have turned a little bit to the loose side here in these first 20 laps.
Harvick did get around Brian Scott. Kevin into the top 10. Trying to find a way to get as many as he can and not let Kyle Busch get too far away. No real shock up front. Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson running first and second. They've given us some thrills, settling these Bristol races out between them in recent times. Maybe we'll get another one of those fabulous finishes later tonight. Early in the going tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series Food City 300 being led by Kyle Busch. He started on the pole. He's led all of the laps so far. No great shock. He's out in front of Kyle Larson. Now the second place runner by 1.6 seconds. Not yet mentioned by me, I don't believe. There will be a competition caution at lap 60 because of the rain that we had earlier in the day. Mentioned by us earlier was how lap traffic could be interesting for some of the race leaders. Watch Kyle Larson in that 42 a few laps ago, trying to work his way through some cars racing for position among themselves.
Yeah, this was a pretty great driving right here. I mean, there's nothing, that track's not that wide, especially coming off the corner down there. Then watch him dive off in here to make sure that he's cleared these cars. Holds them up a little bit, can't quite get back to the throttle, but he's where he needed to be. Nice job.
Pretty wild. Larson running second.
Yeah, the 51 and the 43, you see he's got a lot of damage. This happened coming off of turn 4 a couple of laps ago. I just happened to be looking right at him, and he'd made a pass but kind of slowed down, and then the 43 got into the back of him.
Jeremy Clemens 51, Dakota Armstrong 43, racing for 17th. Trouble back straightaway, caution flag out.
Okay, get rolling when you can.
John West Townley.
No damage, no damage. Not that I can tell. Get rolling when you can. Try to beat this leader. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
We just saw John West racing Eric McClure for a spot a minute ago, and Kyle Larson went through them. And now Townley turned around off of turn number 2.
Yeah, you can see him right here, all the way up next to the wall.
He's out of control from the time he got back in the throttle. There's Ty Dillon, I believe, and Elliott Sadler seeing their championship hopes maybe go down the drain. But both doing a nice job of missing it.
You gotta think and react awfully fast here.
Gosh.
Or close your eyes. Oh.
That's not much of a strategy there.
Corner, 25, come on down, come on down, come on down. Hold it, go, 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 go. Good job. All good?
See, Elliott Sadler's actually in kind of the worst spot here.
On the L1 and the leader is with them.
Avoid this.
He's got a spin on 2, no yellow yet, caution. Yellow, yellow inside.
I think there was some hope involved there.
Huh?
I think they were hoping it was not going to slide up in front of them.
Yeah. And once Elliott saw that the car was going down the hill, and that's what will happen a lot here as you start spinning in the center of the corner and getting off the corner, the car will go down the racetrack.
So Jeremy Clements in to get work done on the back of that 51 car. Pit road will be open for the lead lap cars here when they go by that turn 2 entrance to the pit lane. Remember, expecting it just to be a 2-stop race for these leaders.
Still about 16 laps short of the lap 60 window they set for the competition caution.
And you're not allowed to put any fuel in here, so if you do anything now, you've probably got a problem on your car. Leaders stay out. And we'll come back for the restart at Bristol in just a minute. First caution is out. Doubling up for the restart here at Bristol. NASCAR Nationwide Series getting ready to go back at it after the first caution of the race when John West Townley spun off turn 2. He has continued but has fallen back to 35th position. Little strategy played under this caution, including by Kevin Harvick's team, Jamie.
Yes, exactly. And Kevin Harvick saying he was just a little free. So they just took 4 tires, no adjustments. So we'll see if giving up that track position will be worth it with these new tires.
He only gave up the 4 spots. Eric Jones was first in from 7th place. He's out in 13th. And the competition caution coming not all that far from now.
I have to think that'll allow them just to get fuel whenever that rolls around, if they choose to even come back.
They've been having trouble passing cars. Maybe pass some this way.
There's Harvick back in the restart line as we go green. Kyle and Kyle up front.
Larson's giving it a good go on the bottom.
Well, he's giving it everything that he can. Just can't make that pass work yet.
So Kyle Busch hangs on to the race lead. Ryan Blaney, 22. Chase Elliott, 9. Elliott Sadler, 11. A moment ago.
Things got a little tight on the exit of turn 2 over here. Down the back straightaway.
That can be a problem right there. If you happen to hook that bumper just right, it'll turn him right in front of you.
And Chase Elliott being the points leader, I'm sure saw that wasn't going to be anything but a negative towards his championship hopes. But this 9 car going pretty well after that first scare there, Vince.
Boy, he certainly had his hands full right off the bat, and he says this car has just continually gotten worse as the run has gone. It's way too free, as you saw early on when he almost lost control. But they're going to make a track bar adjustment at this next stop and hope to give Chase Elliott something better to work with.
So Chase, after slipping while racing for 3rd place back in the 3rd lap of the race, falling back to 6th, running in 5th place now. And who else is behind him but Elliott?
Of course. And if they get that 9 car tightened up a little bit, he could be a factor in this. He just needs a little bit of forward bite there. A little track bar usually helps you at a place like Bristol.
That's John West Townley just off the pit lane, coming back up to speed. Kevin Harvick, Cale Conley.
I guess now Cale knows he's there.
Didn't even another bump off turn 4 that time.
Isn't that one of the parts you was talking about, the Napa know-how?
That's right.
Using that bumper.
Who was it had the 3-tap rule?
I think it was Teddy Christopher. It was modified with it. How does that work?
Bump you once, let you know I'm there. Bump you a second time, let you know I'm in a hurry.
The next one, you know what's happening.
So apparently Cale Conley wasn't impressed with who that was. He was able to hold on to that spot.
Not his job to be impressed. It's his job to be impressive.
And he has been so far.
Kyle Larson just has seemed to have had a feel for this Bristol racetrack from the minute he came here.
Yellow's out. Yellow's out.
That should be the competition caution.
And it is. So 2nd caution of the race. And this one now opens up the opportunity for people to be able to take fuel for the first time.
I was looking at the lap times, too. They were holding up really well. After that restart, Kyle Busch ran within 1/10 of a second of his fastest lap on those tires. They had like 45, almost 50 laps on them. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of 2 tires here when they start getting some fuel. You know what Harvick's going to do.
Yes.
Splash. Go. So pit road open when the field gets to the turn 2 pit lane entry. You mentioned Kevin Harvick. He's in 11th position. And he is the driver most forward of those who made the pit stop, and we're looking to make the strategy play here. Here they come. Jamie?
And a bunch of them coming down pit road now to make some adjustments. Brendan Gaughan, though, saying the longer they ran, the more neutral he got, so they're just going to put 4 tires on it, leave it alone. Regan Smith left side tires is the call. Around a wedge, you see it right there waiting on him. Get it packed full of fuel, and he's down and away. Let's go over to the other side with Vince.
Well, the first car we're going to see hit the pit box is the 3 of Ty Dillon. Says it started a little bit tight, but then it swung tick-free. It's going to be 4 tires, no other changes. Sunoco fuel for the Ty Dillon machine. Doc?
Second place car, Kyle Larson. So the car started out really good. Started to get tight center late, so they're going to put 4 tires on. Get it full of Sunoco fuel, slide air pressure change. Bottoming his screen, leader Kyle Busch. 4 tires, full of Sunoco fuel. No changes whatsoever. Kyle said the car is good, down and away.
Our Pennzoil race off pit road. A lot of strategy played there. Not just by Harvick and the guys that pitted under the earlier caution. Kyle Busch going to be pretty deep in traffic when this green flag waves in a moment. Back live at Bristol as the field doubles up for a restart after the competition caution, the second yellow of tonight's race. A race delayed a little over 50 minutes by rain. And guess what? There's more of it out there on the horizon, which makes the big strategy move some of these crew chiefs made even more complicated.
Put 4 on and just come back out gas only, and some of them 2. But the kicker here is there's some weather in the distance, so I wanted to be prepared to run long right here if we have to.
Elliott Sadler, the new leader, with who else? Chase Elliott to his inside.
Wow, what a run Chase Elliott got off of turn 2 there. He's trying to make this work on the inside to get the lead.
Now look, Sadler going to hold him down a little bit.
But you can't really afford to get down there too much because your speed is up on the very top. Nice run by Sadler that time.
Whoa. Regan Smith in the 7 getting in a hurry. Looked like Elliott Sadler there slipped just a little bit.
Yeah, and Chase Elliott's made this now to where he's got to continue with it because there's just a line of cars on the outside, so he's got to try to make this work.
Kyle Busch restarted 7th. He's also trying to make the low line work to get back to the race lead.
That was Chase Elliott's opportunity right there to slide in between and get in that second spot. Still got an opening now. There he is.
Now it's Kyle Busch feeding on the bottom.
They're getting ready to find out how good that 54 car is. He can pass these guys on the bottom. We haven't seen anybody be able to do it tonight.
Better get back up in line. So Kyle Busch sliding up in 5th position. So a quick recap on the strategy there on the pit lane. Chase Elliott, Elliott Sadler, Brian Scott, Regan Smith, all just changing 2 tires. The guy that was the race leader, Kyle Busch, along with Kyle Larson, took 4 tires, gave up a little track position, and then the guys that had stopped under the earlier yellow, like Kevin Harvick, Chris Buescher, Eric Jones, just taking a splash of fuel. Trying to see if they can hold a spot in line. Excuse me, I'm coming through. Is that the message Kyle Larson just sent?
He's been making his way forward since this. When you're in this situation, that's what we used to see when you were on the bottom of the racetrack. So the only thing that's different is it's up at the top. If you hit the driver and you can't turn down under him, then you're going to find yourself losing momentum or him spinning right in front of you. So you have to be a little more calculating in that. You want to hit him, make him lose a little of that momentum, but you don't want him spinning right in front of you. That was about textbook right there.
So Kyle Larson, who lost a few spots on the pit stop, not just because of the strategy, but had a slow pit stop, looked like, on the 42. Larson back up now to 7th place. We heard the radio from Ryan Blaney's team just before the restart. It looked like he struggled a little bit to find a place to get back in line also in that 22.
Yeah, he'd made his way up to the inside of the 6 car of Trevor Bayne there and probably came within about 12, 18 inches of having him cleared. Couldn't quite make that, then couldn't make the pass and lost another spot to the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Fourth place here, Kevin Harvick 5, Kyle Busch 54. Two of the Concrete Kings here at Bristol. Kyle, the all-time leading winner in the Nationwide Series.
See, there's not much difference between the cars that took 2 tires and the ones that took 4 tires.
At this point in time, we'll see how this plays out if we should have a long green flag run. Are those 4 an advantage at that time, especially on a car as good and with a driver as good as Kyle Busch?
3 Ty Dillon, 6 Trevor Bayne. Home race for Bayne, Knoxville, Tennessee native.
Yeah, desperately wants to have a good run here at this racetrack. Always fun to do well in front of family and friends.
Trying to remember. Trouble, turn 2, car on the wall. Hermie Sadler, 19.
It just didn't take off very good.
Terrible misfortune in qualifying earlier today to be going slow on the inside of the track, having finished a run when another car spun off turn 4 and literally caught up to and hit Sadler's car from behind. That in qualifying. Now this in the race for the former winner in this series.
Just got up against the wall if they're in 1 and 2.
And once you get into that wall, it's hard to get off of it. You think you could just steer off of it, but there's no grip up there. Plus, you've got some of this rubber that comes off of the tire. It's a little bit of a hazard up there right against the wall. So you see it just continuing to suck him in there and create some damage.
And every time you turn that wheel to the left and the back edge of that right front tire turns out, it bounces off the wall and snaps it back the other way anyway. So third caution of this race is out. Not quite a third of the way into it yet.
You got most of these teams looking at that radar. They're going to try to get this thing to at least past halfway.
Doesn't count till then. The 75th anniversary of Little League has made its way to championship weekend. Coverage of the 2014 Little League World Series continues tomorrow on ABC at 12:30, the international title game, South Korea, Japan. And then at 3:30, the U.S. championship game, Las Vegas, Nevada against Chicago, Illinois. The Little League World Series presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Both games available live on Watch ABC. I am from Rhode Island, the coach from the Cumberland, Rhode Island team that got so much attention earlier in the week, getting a lot of attention back there as well as he has returned home for the way that he handled his troops.
He should. What an inspiration he was, and those kids just battled right to the end for him. Just love watching that World Series. These young men and women are doing a great job of playing the game, and a lot of fun to watch.
Coach Bilal also a very successful ice hockey coach up in Rhode Island as well, long time along with his dad, who's one of the hockey legends where high school hockey is concerned in coaching. So doubled up for the restart, and it presents an interesting proposition because again Kyle Busch hung in that inside lane. This time Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson draw the outside lane around him.
Yeah, they got your favorite lineup. You got Elliott Sadler and Chase Elliott on the front, and Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson back there in row 3. Just for you, Alan.
Thanks.
But this is going to be exciting. Watch Chase Elliott try to make this run and get in this lead, knowing that there is weather out there.
Cleared. Chase Elliott to the race lead. Larson around Busch to 4th.
Now, these drivers up here now are going to be treating this more like we would be in the last 50 to 60 laps of the race, knowing that they need to get to halfway.
Got a car and gets the inside wall off of turn number 2.
Caution's out.
Joey Gase.
Come right on the ramp. We'll go in down there off of 3.
And I'm sure, like a lot of people, I'm already sitting here counting up who's going to be on the inside line and outside line on the restarts.
Another good restart coming.
Yeah. I already tell you, Kyle Larson's going to be on that outside behind Chase Elliott, and will end up at least in second spot probably. Elliott Sadler did not want to see that caution. Now he's going to be lined up on the inside of the front row.
Chase Elliott could not have gotten a better start. He was exactly even with Elliott Sadler whenever they took off on the green. Gave him the chance he needed.
So 4th caution of this still not quite a third of the way through race already out. And very few takers on pit road. Tanner Berryhill would be the free pass car on this caution. Talking about inside line, outside line, Regan Smith was lined up 3rd inside of row number 2 for the restart. Now he finds himself back in 6th position. Watch that 7 car.
Yep, in the spot that every driver that I talked to about the restarts here said they did not want to be 3rd. They take any other spot, but not 3rd.
He didn't get a very good jump, though. I think that really hurt him.
Five away. Ready.
You try to anticipate that as much as you can, and he just wasn't quite on the gas and ready whenever the 9 and the 11 took off there.
Kevin Harvick, our ESPN in-race reporter, finds himself in 3rd right now.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Jarrett, you good to talk?
Yeah.
Hey, man, boy, y'all made some good strategy calls, get yourself into position here. How much are you thinking about this race to halfway, knowing that there could be some weather coming here?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a race to halfway for sure. And then you just kind of go from there. So Hunt Brothers Pizza car is a little too tight right now, but we'll see what we can do on this restart. Hopefully get back to the top.
Hey, Kevin, how much did you see much difference in this track? We talked about that at the start of this race versus what you have right now.
Not really. I think everybody expected it to be around the top, but it's really fast up there. And, the bottoms, you just got to get off of the bottom as soon as you can in the first 3 or 4 laps.
Okay, thanks for calling. Good luck.
Stay low.
Kevin Harvick running in 3rd position as the field comes around to get the 1 to go signal. Ernie Cope watching the radar, watching his fuel calculations. With each caution lap that adds up, stretching that window a little more. And here they come now to begin to double up for yet another restart. Just joining us, we're NASCAR Nationwide Series racing at the world's fastest half mile. The high-banked Bristol Motor Speedway in East Tennessee, where the race was delayed as a rain shower fell just before the scheduled start of pre-race ceremonies. About 50 minutes after they were scheduled, the engines fired, and we've been racing now, though in rather halting fashion. Cautions at lap 42, 60, 85, and 94 have slowed the pace of this one. Kyle Busch led the opening 63 laps before his first pit stop. Strategies played by others vaulted them ahead of Busch, who now sits in the 5th position, and we're doubled up again with Chase Elliott, now the 3rd different leader of this race. He took the lead from Elliott Sadler after the last restart. Now Chase choosing the outside lane, Sadler down to the inside, with Kyle Larson rebounding from a tough pit stop earlier to be on the outside of row 2.
Chase Elliott really spun the tires right there.
Larson clears Sadler to pick up 2nd. Kyle Busch still working the low lane. Kevin Harvick trying to keep the top side occupied.
Yeah, Harvick backed out so he could get up into that 4th spot at least and not lose any more than that, knowing that Kyle Busch was right there behind him. Kyle trying to make this inside work to try to get 1 or 2. He's really going to need to get by the 11 car.
You can see just how good that 54 car is handling down on the bottom.
Oh, Kyle Larson up out of the groove. Stacks everybody up. Can Kyle Busch really take advantage of this?
Going to get in line ahead of Sadler.
Well, that was big right there.
That was a great move.
Kevin Harvick trying to find a way around Elliott Sadler to see if he can stay in touch. Watch 42 here of Larson.
You almost have to stop when you get completely out of the groove.
You can see he got up a little bit as he tried to get back and power up there. Back in wiggled.
And so for second place, Kyle and Kyle.
Kyle Busch does have a little advantage here with the 4 tires that they elected to take.
When you ride on board for a couple of laps like that, you hear just how little the driver's out of the gas here, and you see how quickly the next corner comes up upon you. You get on that straightaway, and before you can probably inhale and exhale, you're in the next corner.
Yeah, it's just a full night's work in doing this. Turning laps around here at under 16 seconds. And he's just working so hard through the corner, and with the amount of banking that is here, it's a very physical night.
10th place here, Brendan Gaughan, 62, clearing Trevor Bayne in 6. Hello, I gave you a break there. And now Bayne, challenged by young Eric Jones in the 20.
Ryan, the youngster here, handles this situation.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney, 22 there, trying to make up some lost ground. Remember, he started on the front row. Blaney finished 4th in the race here back in March. Of course, big week for Ryan Blaney last week. Announced he'll be driving the Wood Brothers car in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series next year for what's planned at this point to be about 15 races. Trouble. Cars around in turn 1. 44, David Starr was first to go around, then Chad Boat in the 84. And the other car involved up there
the back of us.
piled in.
14.
Tanner Berryhill in the 17.
Just hold tight. Still got about 10 to come by you here.
That was kind of bizarre looking.
Yeah, things just happen so quickly here.
And yellow flag number 5 is out in this one.
We've actually got the car stopped for a minute. As you can see, all the stuff rolling down, going down across the track.
Yep, all that mess has to get cleaned up. So field being stopped, and the red flag is going to be put out. There's Chad Boat coming out of his car. Good to see. You saw Tanner Berryhill roll his car down the bank. Not the first time we've seen the frustrations of things happening fast here at Bristol. Chad Boat and Tanner Berryhill having that conversation. And now that perhaps awkward moment where they both get in the same ambulance and ride into the infield care center.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that those two were actually the ones that started.
Yeah,
all
so
of this.
right here's kind of where it started.
Right, David Starr was the first one to go around.
He gets hooked a little bit there in the right rear. It looked like Matt DiBenedetto.
But I think what they might have been talking about is, so those cars were just coming on to the front stretch when this is happening. So you can't even see 17 and 84 in the frame there. And as we like to say jokingly sometimes, weight on it.
It looks like more than likely the 84 was trying to maybe slow down and maybe possibly got hit from behind or either just locked the brakes up.
Wow, pretty good lick.
Yeah.
Don't really see anybody around him that could have hit him, so it looks more like he just didn't get slowed down. Oh, is that
17 hit the inside
wall.
Couple of hard hits.
Let's see if we can clear that up a little more.
I believe maybe the 17 possibly got.
Yeah, 84 and 17 hit way back there on the straightaway. It was just on the right side of the picture.
Spinning, yeah, so that's what they were discussing.
Yeah.
It was what happened to them as they came down into turn one. Like the 84 maybe had seen this happening, slowed, and the 17 couldn't avoid him the first time. Hard hits.
Yeah.
That everyone's okay.
Very much. So, red flagged. Watch again and look all the way over on the right side of the screen. And you're going to see it's probably right behind the Sunoco sign. Right there. Coming out from behind the Sunoco sign. All the way over here.
Okay. Yeah, that actually looks like maybe the 84's one that got in the back of the 17 and sent him spinning down into the inside wall. Then came back to hit him, who then in turn went and hit the 44. Pretty bizarre, but that's what Bristol is.
And looking all the way at the top of the screen here in this one. Right there. That start-finish line, yeah. So there you go. From inconclusive to conclusive.
We got it.
Or as conclusive as things get here in Bristol. I can conclude this. The red flag is out and the race is stopped short of halfway.
Under caution for the 5th time back at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Cleaning up a mess on the track. Several cars involved, and NASCAR taking the time to make sure things are safe before they get back to racing. Hey, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to catch all the enhanced race action live from right here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 5 cautions, 111 laps completed. Chase Elliott, our current leader. Dave Burns, Rusty Wallace, Brad Doherty joining you from inside the pit studio. Rusty, what are you seeing out there tonight so far?
I tell you, I was really impressed with that last restart with Chase Elliott. I mean, he really came to the gearbox and cleared those guys, and he was on the bottom of that racetrack, and we talked a long time about, hey, you cannot clear him. But, I mean, you watch Elliott settle here. I'm sorry. He's on the outside of the racetrack. Elliott gave him a real fit on that restart, run side by side with him. And you see Elliott was way out there, and all of a sudden Chase just mats that throttle, gets a good grip, gets in front of him, getting down into turn 3 right here. And it didn't look like that was going to happen. So Chase has really learned a lot. He's got some good restarts going on. But I'll tell you, it's a definite fight for the bottom to the top. It's going to be a battle at the very end because these guys running around at the bottom of the racetrack that can't seem to get to the top or get very, very frustrated.
Yeah, they do get frustrated. I think one of the biggest things for me is I thought we would see these types of incidents as we got towards the end of the race. I mean, we're really having a tough time running consistent laps here. You know, that high line is such a hard groove to get into. If you get out of that groove, I think during the end of this race, some of these really fast cars are going to have to bump and run and give themselves some room like we saw earlier with Kyle Larson and Chris Buescher.
Sometimes somebody gets you out of the groove, right?
I just think
here's how Larson did it.
You see Kyle, he gets a good run into the corner, and Chris is just a little bit loose. He has to go ahead and move him just a little bit, get him out of shape so he can take the spot from him, and I think that we're going to see more of that as the race.
Yeah, we're always seeing a bump and run on the bottom of the racetrack, generally getting your turn through. You hit the guy, knock him up the racetrack, and now he's already at the top of the track, and you hit him, get him out of shape, and you make the pass. I agree with you guys. They got to start planning their pass late in this race already because, like I said, frustration is setting in right now. We're only 112 laps into this race, and these drivers are already thinking, what can I do to get around the other guy? What can I do to get around it late? And now what's on their mind is the weather coming. They got a sense of urgency. They got to get it done now. Their brain's really thinking. They're getting nervous. Spotters are telling them, look at the rain right here, guys. It's coming right now. We're at 112. Remember, we got to get to 150 to make this a race, an official race.
So we saw Kevin Harvick also using the nudge and run to make his way to the front. Early strategy call by Harvick and a few others who came down pit road before the first competition caution just to take tires. And then when the competition caution came out, only had to take fuel and really gain some spots.
It's the same old thing as track position. We never really thought we'd come to Bristol and see it be all about track position, but you just cannot give up spots on the racetrack because you can't get them back. So you got to take some chances, take some gambles on pit road. That's exactly what happened.
Let's get an update from down on pit road. Jamie Little.
Well, Chad Boat has been checked and released. Big hit for you. What did you see happen?
I'm not exactly sure. I know I saw the 17 go high to try to miss or low to miss the 44 when he got in the fence, and it felt like I just got ran into the back. But it's hard to say. Everything happened so fast out there. That's kind of just what I felt, that I got ran into the back and then ended up into the 17 or whoever it was. So it's unfortunate for us. CorvetteParts.net car was we were all right. We were working on it. Obviously, just want to thank CorvetteParts.net front row tailgating, Nationwide Insurance Series for sponsoring the series and giving us this opportunity. And we'll be back at Richmond.
All right, I'm glad you're okay. Alan?
Got some pit stops here, Jamie, under this caution flag. Another strategy call by Ernie Cope. Kevin Harvick called in from 5th place.
I have to say that with that strategy call, they just don't think they were good enough to win the race where they were. So, and hope it doesn't rain.
More cars in on the front stretch pit, Doc.
Trevor Bayne in to make an adjustment. His car likewise wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. It had been tight middle, and they wanted to come in and go ahead and put 4 tires on it and make an adjustment to be able to get the car to turn.
Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Ryan Reed, James Busher also on the pit lane here. Back to Jamie.
And Tanner Berryhill has been released. Frustrating. It was a good night for you. What did you see happen, and what were the words that you had with Chad Boat?
It's a racing deal, I guess. It's frustrating when you have a good car, which, we're a smaller team, so we struggle to get like a good car every once in a while. And we had a really good car tonight, so I was real happy with my team and all the efforts and all that. And then, 44 is wrecking, and usually you slow down when someone wrecks. So brakes on the left, I hit them, and someone behind me didn't. So it's frustrating. Thank all my guys to do a good job. But well.
We'll see you back next week. Alan, let's go back to you.
Tanner Berryhill, the youngster from Oklahoma, like so many, scratching and clawing and trying to get a toehold in this series, as is Chad Boat for that matter. And both drivers out as a result of that wreck. So pit stops. Kevin Harvick gave up 5th position. He's all the way back in, I want to check that, let the scoring cycle around, but it looks like 15th place for the restart. Up front, Kyle Larson is now to the inside of Chase Elliott. Elliott Sadler is behind. Kyle Busch has that dreaded inside row 2 restarting spot. And the restart waved off here. And they'll go another lap before they get the green flag. Regan Smith, 2nd in the championship starting the night, just 10 points behind Chase Elliott, finds himself in 5th place.
Nothing, I just can't go. I go into first lap and I feel like I'm going to take off and pound the wall down straight, and then after that I just don't, I've already lost momentum and lost position on guys.
Just kind of waiting on the front a little bit.
So the thoughts of Smith, and you see where he lines up as we get ready for another restart. Watching that weather, you saw the radar a little bit ago. It's about 25-30 miles away, and we're still just a little bit away from halfway. 33 laps from it.
Great restart by Chase Elliott right there.
Larson's able to get in line in 2nd spot. Now Ty Dillon up to try and close Kyle Busch out from getting that up in that upper lane. Dillon in the 3.
Yeah, Kyle Busch was in that dreaded 3rd spot that all those drivers talked about. They did not want to be in on that restart.
There goes Dillon by. Kyle Busch slides up in line in 5th place. Right behind him, Regan Smith. Chris Buescher, 7 and 60, racing for 6th. Brian Scott on the 2 there. Smith able to clear Buescher. Now Scott, the next to try.
That's a nice pass by Brian Scott to make all of that work and get ahead of Chris Buescher.
Who was it here a couple of years ago? It was Jeff Gordon, right, that was driving his car in the Sprint Cup race in so hard on the bottom and going right to the top and making a hole in line. We started calling it a slide job. A couple of dirt track aficionados said to me, you can't do a slide job on pavement. And you came back and said, oh, yes, you can.
Yeah, I begged to differ there. See Kyle Busch getting a little bit loose there, trying to get back around Ty Dillon.
Yeah, he's getting a little frustrated because Ty Dillon's losing touch with Elliott Sadler, who's in front of him.
That was one.
Well, Kyle makes it look easy watching him from inside there, but it's a lot tougher than. He's just so talented. That car driving very well. He's just trying to size up this situation. Am I going to have to use the bumper here to get him loose? Is he going to get loose on his own for just a split second and I can take advantage of that?
I think he's going to have to move him. Well, maybe not.
There he goes, just driving it way deeper into the corner. That's a nice move.
Kyle Busch up to 4th place. Ty Dillon back to 5th.
Showed a lot of patience right there. That was... you know, when you have a good car and you're a good driver, he understands this racing and what you have to do. But he just let the situation come to him.
Yeah, we're going to have a little situation here developing. This lead's tightened up and they're catching lap cars.
That's going to be interesting to see how Chase Elliott handles these lap cars, being out front, being the leader, the first one getting there. And checking his rearview mirror to see where that 42 might be trying to make a pass on him.
Coming up on Dakota Armstrong, 43, 17 laps down after spending some time behind the wall earlier in the race. You saw Joey Gase, 52, involved in a little one-car spin off of turn number 2 a bit ago that brought out the 4th caution of the race. Gase 4 laps down in 29th place.
We just talked so much about Chase Elliott and just seems to be wise beyond his years and just how talented he is. But when you come to tough places like this, it makes you realize it even more. I mean, he almost tore this car up in the first 3 or 4 laps of this race. Yeah. And he got settled down, made an adjustment to his car, and here he is up leading the race and handling this like he's been here 100 times. He just has so many things that you can't teach. I know he's been taught well by his dad and others that are around him, but he just has that ability to have a feel for the situation. I don't know he's going to have a feel for this, though. Well, you get back to the gas. That's a good feel.
Kevin Swindell, 93. The car the leader was going around. Larson tried to take advantage. Is he going to use the bumper?
I thought Larson had the advantage there when he just snuck up on the outside corner.
That's where Chase Elliott was able just to hammer the throttle from down on the bottom.
All right,
just enough to keep him behind. Is he going to use the bumper here?
Sorry, DJ. Right from the start, we've seen the 9 car get off the corners, carrying a lot of speed.
Yeah. Now we see the top 4 right together.
They have a little breathing room on the lap cars before they catch some more of them.
But yet, they know you really can't pull out a line and just try the bottom unless you've got such a run that you can do the...
Well, the only one that can is Kyle Busch. He doesn't have anybody behind him, so he can give it a go.
Yeah, he can give it a try here, but he doesn't have enough room in between the 11 and the 42 to make a slide job work right now, so there's really no reason to abuse your tires right at this point. Back in that traffic situation now for the leaders, though.
Eric McClure, 14, his home track. Getting put down a lap there by the leader.
Yeah, you can see Elliott Sadler tried to make a move on Kyle Larson. It might cost him a spot to Kyle Busch, who went to the high side to take that third spot away.
Now your Larson better time this run out of the corner well.
And look at this. Well, you can see Larson knew what was happening there. Really crowded Kyle Busch.
3 wide, 2 wide, 42.
Can he outdrive him into the corner? I don't think so.
Slow car ahead. Busch is going to have to yield back to Larson there.
That's some great racing right there by two incredible drivers.
Want to look away from this because it's good and it's for a spot up front. Behind them, Elliott Sadler's having a little more trouble getting through those lap cars who were 3 wide in front of him for a second.
Yeah, really held him up a lot in his progress. He lost touch with those first 3 now.
Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch got held up by the lap car on that lap.
28, J.J. Yaley spent 39 laps behind the wall getting repairs made on that car, as you can see, is back in the race. Going to get to a really interesting point here shortly because we're going to go past halfway. Now the race becomes how far can you go on fuel? When's the weather going to get here? Are you going to have to pit before it does? And if you do, what do you do when you're there?
Yeah, that's the tricky part is trying to time it. You know, you can see it on the radar, but knowing exactly when it's going to hit the racetrack is kind of hard to predict. We heard one of the teams say they could go to about lap 220, I believe it was, on fuel.
And then had a few more cautions since then.
Looks like maybe the 4 tires are taking over here as Kyle Larson takes the lead. Here comes Chase Elliott back. Lap traffic once again.
Dear. Larson leads that lap. The halfway lap, by the way. Now here comes Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is the point where the 4 tires is paying off.
So Kyle Larson to the race lead. The plot thickens. The weather draws near. How will it all play out? Well, there's only one way to find out. Stick around with us. Watch and see. Live at the NASCAR Nationwide Series Food City 300 from Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee, with a reminder that NASCAR.com has up-to-date and latest NASCAR information. Under the green flag just past the midway point in the race, with rain closing in, and the 4th different driver to lead the race out in front. Kyle Larson, 42, barely leading Kyle Busch, 54. The 2 drivers that we thought would be contenders for the win in this one tonight, who started in 2 of the top 3 positions, up there racing for the lead as this one rolls through its mid stages. Sports Center is supposed to come up now. This race had a 50-minute delay for rain earlier. Sports Center airing over on ESPN News, and will follow here on ESPN at the conclusion of tonight's event. Kyle Busch had a look.
He keeps waiting for that opportunity right here. This 42 just to slip a little bit. And we've seen it happen a time or two to give him that. Kyle Larson getting a nice run off the corner, especially off of turn 4. That seems to be where he's able to put a little bit of distance between himself and the 54 Kyle Busch.
They've left everybody else. 3rd place, Elliott Sadler, 3 1/3 seconds back. Ty Dillon has passed Chase Elliott. Ty up to 4th. Chase back to 5th place after leading this one not all that long ago, about 15 laps ago. go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check in on some of the front-running cars. I breathe for a second while the leaders encounter side-by-side lap cars, but as that settles down, we check with Doc.
And Kyle Larson in the 42 car began the night with a little bit being tight in the center. He said on the restarts recently, the car has been loose in it. Whoa, and now Kyle Busch has caught him right to the rear. Right now, Kyle Larson says the car feels good. They're trying to get him to be very careful and be smooth, while behind him, Kyle Busch said he is battling loose off. The car very, very loose up off the corner. You saw him slide up across the racetrack. He lost about 5 or 6 car lengths right there to Kyle Larson. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. That was an interesting moment there with Busch taking a run through the center of the corner.
Oh, see Larson got a little bit
of a bobble. Here he comes
there.
right back to him.
Yep. Just takes that little slip to break the momentum with these cars.
Championship leader Chase Elliott mentioned it falling back to 5th, Vince.
He led 58 laps, and then all of a sudden the handling seemed to have gone away. He says the car's gotten very loose off. They're discussing whether maybe they've got a problem.
Let's make sure it's not a tire going down or something like that. I kind of think that's what it is in a way, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
So you hear a little bit of concern from crew chief Greg Ives, wanting to make sure they don't stay out and have a tire issue that cost them, an incident into the wall and multiple laps down that would hurt their championship effort. Right now, as you heard, Chase Elliott hanging on, hoping for a yellow, Alan.
If you look at the lap times, they've slowed down about 3/4 of a second or so. If the track's, rubbered in, greased up or whatever, or it's just tires. He only took 2 tires from the other guys took 4. But looking at even at the guys that took 4 tires, they're starting to slow up quite a bit too. I think they're just losing a lot of that grip, and it's probably giving them a funny feel.
Well, they've been running so fast in those, it's just easy to run the tires right off of them, especially in the case of Chase Elliott, who only has 2 tires. Then he's overworking those right side tires, and especially that right rear to hold him. When he was out front leading, he was setting a pretty torrid pace. Easy for a young driver maybe to wear that out quicker than what he's thinking.
As you watch that 9 car, remember all the way back on the 3rd lap of the race, as we check in with Rusty Wallace over in the pit studio, 9-time Bristol winner. You think that might have something to do with what's going on now, R-Dub?
Yeah, Alan, I really do. I've been watching Chase lap after lap, and I tell you, as this race is going on, I mean, I know we're at a shorter racetrack and a little slower speeds, but I really think aerodynamics is still real important. And that right rear quarter panel you're looking at right now is damaged up pretty good on Chase's car, and that creates a lot of side force on these cars, and I think he's battling that just a little bit. I really do, guys.
Interesting. That was way back on the 3rd lap of the race. As you see the team owner there, Dale Jr., looking on when Chase slipped up out of the groove, running 3rd, wrinkled up that fender, fell back to 6th. And then after getting the lead a little while ago on a restart from Elliott Sadler, now has fallen back and is fighting here. Brian Scott 2, Regan Smith 7, looking to get around Chase Elliott and pick up 5th and 6th places.
It's tough whenever your car goes to the loose side at a track like this, and the speeds that they're running here now, just trying to hold cars back that have caught you. You don't want to give that spot up, because he knows, just like we all do, that weather is close. And if it should happen to come now, there'd be a big chance that we wouldn't get this started back. He's trying to hold on for every point that he can. Ryan Blaney trying to make his presence known there.
Blaney 22 started on the front row. Shuffled back a little bit.
Now, he has about 50 fresher tires in the cars he's racing around right now.
And a lot more fuel. So if this thing should run on for a little bit, up trouble.
Nope. Back straightaway, Timmy Hill. A front straightaway. And Elliott Sadler has picked up some pretty good damage in the 11 car.
Pull the fender. You got the pipe. We'll have all.
Oh.
Got a spin on the front here.
Caution's out. Yellow, yellow, he's down low.
So Sadler has to give up 4th place to get that damage attended to on the 11 car.
Well, this team and driver just, they don't have bad luck. They don't have much luck at all here recently anyway. Had a really solid night going.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's part of racing here at Bristol, though.
Sadler started the night 16th points off the lead in the Nationwide Series Championship.
Yeah, more than the body damage. I think that right front wheel took a big hit. It's probably going to have the front end completely messed up as far as steering.
Five seconds and go. Go, go, go.
Trying to see what they can do to keep Elliott on the lead lap. Of course, he pitted before pit road was open, so no matter what, he's going to have to start at the end of the line, but at least still on the lead lap, and they've gotten a look at it to know what they might have to do.
Trying to get a look there, you could see the tape on his steering wheel. If his steering wheel was kind of straight, that'd give you an indication of if there's any problem with that right front, anything being bent there. So we see the leaders to pit road.
Here they come. Larson, Busch, Dillon. Everybody back through the top 10 is in. Jamie?
Regan Smith had so much wheel in it, he said he was getting loose. 4 tires, air pressure out of the right front, only 13 gallons of fuel needed to make it to the end. Brian Scott lost all grip. 4 tires, no adjustments. Let's go to the front side.
Ty Dillon pitting from 3rd place says he just needs to be a little bit freer in the middle. Otherwise, the car is really good. 4 tires and air pressure adjustment. Sunoco fuel, Doc.
Kyle Larson says the car is perfect. Don't change a thing. Going to be 4 tires there. Get it full of Sunoco fuel. They told him to save fuel here. They're good to the end, but they want to save some. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch, great break. He thought he had a right rear tire going down. Could have got to tighten this thing up. Tires are down and Busch is away, but Larson will beat him off.
Kyle Larson holds the race lead on the pit stop. Kevin Harvick's team with a strategy move going to gain a lot of track position there. Doubled up for the restart after a round of pit stops in which Kyle Larson's team held the lead. Aaron Shields is carrying our over-the-wall camera. He's on that 42 team.
That's how you do it. That make you want to get back out there, Andy?
Yeah, actually, it does. It's kind of fun. Nah, not really.
Added another lap of caution before we'll go back racing. So a chance to look at how they doubled up and see that Kevin Harvick, whose team made the strategy play to get just 2 tires, got all the way up, gained 8 positions, but it got him to 3rd spot.
He would have took 7.
And that inside 2nd row spot, here's who's restarted there tonight, and here's what's happened to him after 5 laps. They restarted 3rd.
Well, every driver, and Kevin was one of those drivers that I talked to, and I didn't even mention anything about the restarts. He just volunteered the information that you do not want to start 3rd, restart 3rd. And you know, you're at the mercy of the guy that's starting 2nd or on the inside row in front of you, and then you just can't seem to get that momentum going. We'll see what he does with it.
And championship contender Elliott Sadler still with work being done on the right front corner of that car. There's the reason why we're not going racing yet. 86 car in some troubles on the pit lane, Jake Crum, and they're having to tow that one away before we'll go back at it. Sadler's team has managed to keep him on the lead lap, but got some work to do. Still getting that 86 car hooked up to the record. Get a quick second to try and check in with Kevin Harvick, our in-race reporter.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Jarrett, good to talk.
Any laps these left got on them, Ernie?
They got 65 green flag laps.
Hey, Kevin, Dale Jarrett, good to talk.
Sir?
All right, man, looks like you got yourself in a spot here to try to win this race.
Obviously, I wish I was fourth and had 4 tires, but, you know, we put ourselves in a situation where we thought this was the best case scenario for us and see what happened.
All right, thanks. Good luck, man.
All right, switch is right. Here we go.
Rain still about 20 miles away, according to the radar. And so we have 106 laps to go when the green flag waves here. Kyle Larson, the control car for the restart, choosing naturally the outside lane. Kyle Busch to his inside. Ought to be interesting to see the tactics on this one.
It is definitely going to be interesting to see. Kyle Busch is one of the best at these restarts that we know. What can he pull off here?
Pace car can pull off. Probably a good idea.
He wants to see this too.
Yeah. Using the bottom lane to rally back and get alongside. Can he clear him here? Oh, contact. Yep. And Kyle Busch out in front.
It will be interesting to see if that 42 is able to get back to the bumper of the 54, what might happen.
Game of inches. I mean, if he's gonna do it, he had to do it right then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. Kyle Busch had his run, and that was his one chance. And you had to assume that that he was far enough up there that it wasn't going to wreck him if he wasn't completely clear. See Harvick there. We showed you the graphic. He went from 3rd to 6th, which is about the average, losing 3 spots on these restarts from that 3rd starting spot.
So Ty Dillon up to 2nd. Larson 3rd, Elliott 4th, Blaney 5th, and Harvick back to 6th place. And we hit the 2/3 mark in this one. Well, that was really interesting, that restart. Looked like Larson kind of smoked Busch there for a second. Got away from him by a car length or so. But it didn't take long for that 54 to hitch up the saddle and go.
I can't really see where the restart deal is from our vantage point right here. It almost looked like that he took Kyle Busch by surprise as I look and see where that is. Not sure if he was expecting the 42 to be able to go right then. But he made a great run then, not getting to start through 1 and 2 to get back clear of the 3 car. And then set himself up in a position to where he could get by the 42 and just muscled his way on then.
All right, so now Ty Dillon in 2nd and staying right with Kyle Busch.
Well, he really is. He's actually gained back on him. He was a little further back than this. 3 car looks really solid right now.
Hey, he's making a run off the corner. He's using the high lane through the middle, but he's able to turn his car down low coming off the corner. Seems to get a good bite.
Ty finished 6th here in the March race in his first try in a Nationwide Series car at Bristol. Of course, got that huge win at Indianapolis.
He's pacing Kyle Busch pretty well right now.
Yeah, they clawed their way back into the middle of the championship battle there with some good runs. That win at Indy, and then had an issue last week at the road course, Mid-Ohio. But still battling. They know they've got plenty of time. Winning races will help you catch the leader.
28 points behind championship leader Chase Elliott starting the night, running ahead of him now by a couple of spots on the track. Car you saw off the pace a second ago is J.J. Yaley. Looked like he got up and scraped the wall a little bit in the 1 and 2. There you see the results. And Yaley back on the pit lane. Again, he's many laps down after being behind the wall earlier in the race. So an interesting turning point in the race. A restart with 108 laps to go that results in Kyle Busch going back to the lead for the first time in a while. A little nighttime racing in Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway in Northeast Tennessee, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series, after a 50-minute delay by rain, went at it. The bump started early. Chase Elliott into the wall at lap 3. They have continued on through 6 caution flags in this one now. Things that go bump in the night, oftentimes the theme here at Bristol in August. 82 to go in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Bristol. Kyle Busch out in front after a duel on a restart a little while ago with Kyle Larson that initially it looked like Larson had the advantage on. Then Busch roared back by him, took Ty Dillon with him. Now they run first and second and have put a 2nd and 8/10 on Larson, who's back in 3rd place. Another story on the night, Elliott Sadler, championship contender, 3rd in points coming in, swept up when Timmy Hill spun off turn 4 at lap 184. After repeated pit stops for repairs, Sadler just going a lap down. He's in 19th place now. And what a nice job by Ty Dillon tonight.
Boy, he's been really patient, had a good car. Looked like they made a little adjustment. This car looked like it wasn't quite turning in the center of the corner early on. They've got that fixed, and now strong 2nd place.
Yeah, one thing I like his car, what his car is doing is it does rotate the center real well, but he's able to drive it just about a car width lower.
Elliott Sadler into the wall, front straightaway. Caution's out.
Yellow. It's going from bad to worse for Elliott.
Yeah, he just had to believe that something in that right front.
Well, you can see all the damage on this.
Wasn't good there because it took a hard hit.
7th caution of the race, and a night where Sadler hoped for good things for his championship bid has turned into just the opposite.
You can see he's up against the wall right here. I believe he blew a right front tire.
Sure looked that way. Yeah, the only thing harder than trying to drive a good car around here is drive a wreck race car around here and try to keep up speed and up the minimum and get as much as you can out of it.
Yeah.
But he just gotten out of the groove, and whenever with the damage that he had, it wasn't driving very good.
Clear by 6.
So caution number 7 out. And what he hoped for a good day at his dream track has turned into a little bit of a nightmare for Elliott Sadler. Doubling up for restart here at Bristol. Restart will come with 72 laps to go. Here's one of those little secrets when you get behind the scenes sometimes. These big bright lights, you know how like if you leave your back porch light on sometimes at night and it'll attract the moths and the bugs? Well, way up high on the roof, sometimes the camera guys wear goggles because the moths and the big bugs are attracted to the big bright lights. Never seems to be a problem in the grandstands, but it is up on the roof when you're operating one of those cameras. Found that out the hard way the first time. Remember the first time in the night race at Charlotte, the All-Star race? Went up there to work turn 4 on radio, stood right behind one of those light posts. Next time I went up there, I had goggles.
Lesson learned.
It bugged me all night.
Kyle Larson restarted 3rd, dreaded spot. Let's see what he can do with it.
Got a chance to get up in line right there.
Yep. He actually held serve then on this one.
He's going to help the average. Still going to be back around losing 2 spots to the 5th, but he's going to be hanging on in 3rd right now.
Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney now back into the top 5.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney's done a nice job all night. They've made some pit stops and things that's had him back in the pack quite a bit, but now inside that top 5 once again.
And Kevin Harvick there running 6th in the 5 car. They're side by side behind him. Regan Smith clearing Dylan Krasneski, who's having a nice job, nice drive tonight in that 31 car.
Now, coming back around to these tracks a second time, you want to see what this young man can do. You know, they've made a crew chief change there. We've seen a lot of things change with him. He's not tearing up these race cars and things. He's getting a lot of laps under his belt. Nice to see him having a good, solid night here.
there is such a thing as trying too hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes a little while when you're trying to prove yourself to understand that if you just settle down a little bit, it's going to be okay. And Dillon has done a nice job as the season has progressed in growing his confidence and understanding that balance. Free pass at the caution before this one was that one. That car, Eric Jones, who got back onto the lead lap. He's running now in 11th place.
A pretty solid run for the young man. First time at Bristol.
He really is very, very talented. And this is just such a different track than anything that he's ever been on. And driving these cars and the competition level this here, you know, running in 11th spot is a very solid night.
Right behind Jones, Ryan Sieg. We talked so much about Ryan when he had the great run at Daytona. Got himself into the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash there. The family team, the little team that could. And started out the season not with plans to run the full year in the Nationwide Series. Was going to fill in around his plans to run in the Camping World Truck Series with some Nationwide races. Got a toe hold here. And the team is soldiered on and plugged out. They like, when I talk with Ryan, the ability to race every week. And he's learned so much. And they have to do so much with so few people to get to the racetrack week to week. But it seems like they put on a solid performance almost every time.
Yeah, it's nice to see a sponsor on the side of that 39. Young man, very deserving of that, certainly.
Kyle Busch looking to do something that's never been done before. I don't know if we've mentioned this all night. He's trying to win a 4th consecutive Nationwide Series race here at Bristol. It's never been done before. He had a chance to do it once before, won 3 straight, came here the next time, and had a problem on pit road. This was back during the season when he drove his own equipment, not Joe Gibbs. Had a wheel left loose on a pit stop, had to make an extra pit stop, and it cost him a chance to run up front in that race. Here he is tonight, seeking a 4th straight, has had to rally back from behind. Started up front, started on pole, led the opening 63 laps in this one, but has had to rally back from behind after strategies and track position and getting caught in that dreaded inside row for a couple of restarts and whatnot kept him from getting up to the front.
Yeah, he worked that hard and really made some key moves at times, and even taking the lead from the 42 of Kyle Larson a couple of restarts ago. That was the big moment really for him, but being patient and making that work.
The only weak spot I've seen on that 54 tonight is him in that long run. We run probably the longest we had on tires all night. Kyle Larson had the lead, and he was right on Kyle Larson's rear bumper. And at the end of that run, he lost touch with him, probably a couple of seconds. I'm just wondering if they made an adjustment on the 54, or we'll see the same thing with about 25 to go here if his rear tires start giving up.
Wisniewski 31, Scott 2, 8th and 9th place. Brendan Gaughan 62, just behind them, also for position.
Seen Brian Scott in a couple of times tonight in this very position, trying to make this inside work. He's got a good race car, and he's been patient most of the time. But another solid run for this team. Brendan Gaughan right there behind him, teammate.
Brian has run too well this year not to win. You got to figure they're going to win sometime. Now, this is of interest to me. After all the pit stops and repairs, Elliott Sadler remained 1 lap down. He and Trevor Bayne here are racing for the free pass spot. They are the first 2 and only 2 cars 1 lap down. Now, until Kyle Busch catches Ryan Reed and puts the 16 a lap down, this is going to be for the free pass spot. And it's going to be about a third of a lap before Kyle Busch might catch the tail end of the lead lap cars. And if we get a caution between now and then, this race can be pretty important.
See, Elliott Sadler really having to dig down. You know this car isn't driving well. We've seen that with all the damage that he sustained.
But you know he's been told the importance of finding and passing the 6 car. Get by him, get a caution before Kyle Busch laps anybody else, and now you're right back in the thick of it. And what could have been a disastrous night in points might turn out to be not too bad. But Bayne's holding that high line.
Yeah, and he's held off a lot of cars that have tried to make that inside pass. Trevor Bayne has all through the night. Obviously, Elliott knows that. He's going to try to trap him in behind a slower car, possibly, as they start approaching some traffic.
Not missing anything up front. Kyle Busch has pulled away from Ty Dillon by a 2nd and 8/10 now. And while you watch this, I'm going to mention, well, let's hold a breath here. Lap cars just ahead.
Sadler had a shot right there, just wasn't up quite far enough. So he's trying to make a big run here, getting trapped in behind the 4 car.
And they're going to do all this hard racing. And in about 2 laps, Kyle Busch is going to catch and pass Ryan Reed. And it's going to be for naught.
Well, Sadler did make the pass on the 6 car for the time being.
Yep.
But it's all for naught.
And there you go. Yep. So now Ryan Reed is the first car. 1 lap down. Watching the radar, it's going to be interesting. The checkered flag or the rain, which gets here first. If we stay under green, it's going to be the checkers. If we stay under green. Caution number 8 out here in Bristol. Elliott Sadler involved for the 2nd time. You see the damage there on the left side of that car. Lucky it could have been a whole lot worse because of where this car wound up sitting on the track. Ahead from Trevor Bayne.
They cut another tire down.
Yeah, that sure did right there.
Yeah, but it was quite a few close calls. I thought there were 2 or 3 cars going to hit him after the fact.
You here?
What a night. This will turn out to be a big night in Elliott Sadler's championship hopes for this season. Pit road open. Only takers among lead lap cars. Ryan Scott from 9th place first in. Brendan Gaughan also in, Jamie.
Brendan just saying his balance has gone away just a tad. They wipe the grill as they take their time working on the left sides. Meanwhile, the 2 of Brian Scott is in. His grip was a little bit better that last run. You 2 took left side tires.
Chris Buescher, Trevor Bayne. There you see the damage when you heard Bayne hit Elliott Sadler as Sadler came off the wall. I can only imagine how much racing here can aggravate you as a driver and a crew chief.
There's not a more frustrating place a lot of the times. Where Elliott was having a really solid night and has a car spin in front of him, right in front of him, with nowhere to go, and that just started what is going to end up being a terrible night.
It looked like something broke in the right front suspension. They're going behind the wall.
See that minus 32 for Sadler. That's at the moment. He was minus 16 to start the night. And is likely going to lose
7 or 8 at least.
Yes, I'm just looking back to see how many laps are left. He might lose as many as 10 more positions before the checkered flag waves on this one. Well, Bristol tonight, next weekend. Actually, next couple of weeks, more nighttime racing for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Atlanta, next Saturday night, under the lights. Big, fast, 1.5 miles, tire wear, grip give up, exciting racing. That's next weekend. Then it's on to Richmond. And then we begin the September stretch at Chicagoland Speedway, Kentucky, Dover, and more. Join us at the track, NASCAR.com/tickets, or the number at the bottom of your screen. We look forward to some great weather and great racing throughout these remaining months of this season. Championship is tight. As they run on the racetrack now, Chase Elliott 14 points ahead of Regan Smith and 27 ahead of Ty Dillon. And we're doubled up for a restart that's going to come with 33 laps to go. The dreaded inside row 2 to Kyle Larson.
He held on to it last time in that third spot. See if Ty Dillon's got anything left. Try to make a run. We saw him earlier make a little bit of a run at that 54, Kyle Busch.
And if Chase Elliott can close him out there.
Yep.
Dillon's going to get up in line. Larson is going to fall in behind Elliott. Harvick 5, Blaney 22. 5th place. Remember, Blaney's team, Penske Racing, locked in that tight team or owners championship with Joe Gibbs' 54 car.
Battle for second here. Chase Elliott benefited from that great start that the 54 got. Had to get out of the trouble there. Not going to get the second spot. Is he going to be able to hang on to third?
Played a little defense there. Got up in that outside line quick.
Scott up into the wall after turn 4.
Keeps going. We stay under green. Second place on back is where things are tight. This is Larson and Blaney for 4th and 5th, 42-22. And Chase Elliott just ahead of them, looking to see if he can get second from Ty Dillon.
Is obviously a little faster right now than what Ty Dillon is, but being faster and making a pass here. Might have to take a big chance. It'll be interesting to see if he really wants to take that chance being the points leader.
It's just about a year ago, racing for the win in the final laps up at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race that these two were in similar position. There was contact. Chase Elliott won. Ty Dillon crashed. There was confrontation after it was over. Ty has said on a couple of times this season he has not forgotten that.
Chase is really getting a nice run off of turn 2. He's done this a couple of times. He's made a big run off the edge of the corner, just not able to do it off of turn 4, though.
I think Ty Dillon's car has been strong. His strength all night has been off of turn 4.
Working their way around David Starr in the 44, whose car was damaged in an incident earlier.
That's where Ty Dillon seems to really struggle, is trying to get his car turned, and on the exit of turn 2, the 9, you can see Chase Elliott really beating him there. See if he sets him up. It's a 22 now. Saw him just past Kevin Harvick right after the restart.
Kyle Larson had his hands.
Whoa.
Into the wall and around. Oh, and Dylan Kwasniewski collected.
Lock it down, man. Lock it down. 22 just ruined our day.
$19 laps to go. And a good night gone bad for Kyle Larson. He had the slightest of wiggles off turn 4. You saw the hands with the little flinch behind the wheel. But then when Ryan Blaney tried to run to his inside in turn 2, The grip went away.
Made a little move right there to try to show his displeasure. 22 able to avoid him.
Sorry, I got really loose. So I'm sorry. That's right.
See, he tried to drive it off into the corner. Was going to try to at least stay side by side to get to the exit of turn 2. Got a little bit loose in trying to make that happen. Unfortunate for Dylan Kwasniewski right there. He'd had a great night.
Lock it down here, lock it down, lock it down.
That was
22 just ruined our day.
team car of Kwasniewski to the car that Kyle Larson drives that just got collected. Regan Smithsfield. I'd say that was the 8 tires better than 4, but really it was the right side of that 42 being up against the wall that helped the 22 straighten out.
Yep. But certainly the type of racing that we expected, and in the late stages here, with it just being a single groove, the best groove around the top.
Yeah, look, Chris Buescher does a good job just squeezing by.
Oof, wow. Well, a lot of bits and pieces to clean up. And Kyle Larson out of his car and standing with Jamie.
Well, he led 46 laps tonight. What did you see happen right there?
Well, I mean, the 22 is faster than I was for sure. And my spotter said we were looking for a caution, so I was racing hard to stay in fourth, have the outside, and he got into me off 4, and then we went in side by side into 1, and I thought he was just going to chase me to the top, but he just ran me into the wall, so sucks. We had a really good Ineos Chevy. We were good on long runs, really good on long runs, way too tight on short runs, and sucks. 22 pretty much ruined our day, and it looks like he ruined our teammates' day. He was doing really good, Dylan was. I just was talking to my spotter about that. I feel bad. I feel like I jinxed him. I was just saying how good Dylan was doing, and just got caught up in our mess. But it's a bad day for Turner Scott Motorsports.
I know it doesn't fix your car, but Ryan Blaney did come on the radio and he apologized. I believe he said he got loose. I know that that's not much of a consolation, but it was an accident.
No, I know. I know Ryan's a good kid. It's just frustrating. I mean, it's Bristol. It's short track racing, and I mean, I know it wasn't on purpose. He just got in the wall really hard, so that's why I'm mad. But I mean, we race well together. I'm sure we'll have a long career racing together too. So it's not really a big deal. It just sucks.
All right, and Dylan Kwasniewski, he mentioned his teammate. The rear end is out. It's leaking grease, oil everywhere, and you see him back there. He, too, is behind the wall. They're trying to do something to salvage a position or two.
All right, Jamie. This is the 9th caution of the night tonight in less than 300 laps. What are we going to see tomorrow night? When the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes 500 laps here at Bristol, we've seen 12 and 11 cautions in the last 2 Cup races here. And our telecast is on ABC at 7 Eastern, presented by AutoZone. The night race at Bristol tomorrow night. Kyle Larson's our ESPN in-race reporter tomorrow. He had some troubles in qualifying. He's going to have to come from way back in the field. 40th starting spot tomorrow night. Should be interesting to get his observations as the evening goes there.
Yeah, a lot on the line for a lot of drivers tomorrow night, including Kyle Larson.
Coming to the restart, Kyle Busch is the race leader.
He said we're coming? Stay safe. I hope you were messing with me. Don't have any hair, dude. That's not cool. I'm going same place you're going here. Don't worry.
Giving his crew chief a heart attack on the radio under the caution. Kyle Busch trying to get away from Ty Dillon and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Blaney with that got the restart and the outside in that 4th spot, trying to go to 2nd now. Looks like he's going to get that spot maybe. Oh, big trouble right here. Well, that's a nice save by Ty Dillon.
Big jam up from third place on back. Chase Elliott now to third. Here's what happened.
I didn't see any way they were coming out of that.
Oh, and now trouble in turn 4. Has the caution flag out as we come back live. Jamie Dick 55, Mike Bliss 10.
All right, we're rolling, guys.
Tenth caution of the night.
Well, it'll be at least in double digits tomorrow night, you were asking.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about that. See. I will have to say this is going to be quite the interesting restart, though, as I look at this lineup.
So, back to Ty Dillon there a moment ago. That's a nice save.
Yes.
Really busy over there for a lot of people in a very short period of time.
Well, I'm put you down. Stay in it. Stay in it. Stay in it. Coming out inside. Right on you. Go, 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 go. Clear low, clear low, clear low, clear low.
Outside, outside, clear. That's it, baby. Get after it. Get after it.
Keep coming low, keep coming low, 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 keep coming low. Come on low, inside. Clear low, clear low, clear low. Outside the 5. Keep taking her bumper. Still there. All right, let's roll this bottom up here. Get this 3. Door, door, still there. Nice and patient. We're getting off the corner door. Bumper.
A lot going on in a short period of time.
Sure was. I really thought they were trying to bring Elliott Sadler back into the championship battle by all 3 of them crashing.
Elliott's car damaged earlier and out of this race. Right now shown in 29th place. So 1 to go here. That'll be 6 laps of racing left, barring overtime. The radar shows the rain is really close. It's
we only have a few laps left.
I know. It's just it's been really a really interesting set of circumstances in this one tonight. That's for sure. So Ryan Blaney to the inside of leader Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott now draws that inside row 2 spot.
That looks pretty good for Bristol.
Not over yet.
Kyle Busch has been so good on these restarts. Who can keep up with him here?
Restart tactics. Ryan Blaney through Kyle Busch for the moment.
See a lot of games played tonight. That one right there looked like it backfired on Kyle Busch.
I don't think he's going to have much patience if he gets there.
Using every inch of track to try and get there. Coming to 3 to go. Do we get another caution to get another restart chance? Or can Kyle Busch get there and get it done by himself? Would not be the first time we've seen a bump and run at Bristol in the last laps.
No, it wouldn't be, but Ryan Blaney's doing his best not to let him get to that bumper.
2 to go.
You're going to have to wheel it. He's there.
Get a bump.
Hold your breath. Coming to the white flag. The last lap of Bristol. Ryan Blaney leads. Kyle Busch is second. A restart with 6 to go. Ryan Blaney gets by Kyle Busch. He gets to the checkered flag, and Blaney wins it at Bristol.
Really nice job, man. That's all you can. I don't know if he spun his tires, but he went past the double yellow mark, so better not have a problem with that.
Wow, that was nice.
Another win for Jeremy Bullins and Roger Penske's team and their young driver. Years old, door to door with one of the Masters on a restart with 6 laps to go. The games were played and he came out on top.
We've seen games being played all night on the restart.
Well, you have to, especially from that inside. You have to try to do. And what we saw Blaney do there was lay back and then make a little run up towards, and it looked like Kyle was trying to get him in front. Two drivers seem to have a little disagreement about what happened there in the closing laps.
It looked like they've agreed to disagree on that one.
Yeah, I don't think that was about dinner plans there.
Now look at the restart. Right past that Irwin Tools logo, the beginning and end of the restart zone.
Yeah, I mean, they were through the restart zone.
Now, what Kyle Busch's beef is going to be is that 22 was about a half a car length back on him when they came to that restart zone.
Yeah, laying back is not something that NASCAR frowns on, too.
I'm not saying anything about the restart, right? I don't think so.
All right, let's check in where some of the post-race action is. Jamie?
Well, Regan Smith, a great night for you guys. You finished 5th, but you just had some words there, and it lasted for a little while with Ty Dillon. What were you guys upset about?
Yeah, I just don't like the way Ty raced all night. You know, there was 3 or 4 times he ran me in the fence off of 4 on the inside, and everybody else out there seems to be able to give room, and he doesn't. That last one could have ended our night, so I explained that to him, you know. Said he got tight. That seems to always be the excuse, but when you get tight, you usually lift out of the gas pedal, so next time I run him over, I'm going to get tight too.
All right, let's go over to Vince.
Well, Ty Dillon finished 4th, and as Jamie was visiting with Regan Smith, he said he didn't like the way you drove him tonight. What's your response to that?
My response is I'm 4th in points, 28 out, and I'm trying to get all I can coming down to the end. My guys deserve it. Our Bass Pro Chevy was fast, and I got into Ryan that second to last restart, and kind of ruined our chances to win. But we just got a little too tight. But I'm really proud of my Bass Pro Shop guys. This is a nationwide insurance race. It's Bristol, man. That's why I was upset. We're racing at Bristol, man. We're going for all we can, and a little bump's a bump, man. Nobody got tore up. It's racing, so. But it was a good night. I had a lot of fun. We had a great race car again, so if we continue to get race cars like this, we'll do all we can to push. But I'm not going to give anybody anything when I'm trying to run for a championship.
Ty Dillon 4th tonight. Jamie?
Kyle Busch walking in the media center right now. Kyle, it all came down to the final restart. What did you see happen on the final?
The leader's at the biggest disadvantage on restarts. I go when I want to go, but everybody else is pushing me. My rear tires aren't on the ground. Can't go anywhere.
He has a problem with the final restart, Alan.
And I figured he would.
No doubt. Can't blame him for that.
So Kyle Busch finishes 2nd, goes into the media center for his post-race obligations, while Ryan Blaney is up on the roof of the next building over. That's where Victory Lane is.
The 20-year-old is a winner at Bristol Motor Speedway. As Alan Bestwick said, you beat Kyle Busch at Bristol, and very few people have done that. Take us through that final restart and how you were able to make that move on the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, first of all, I got to apologize to Kyle Larson. I just got loose on the bottom and got into him. I'm really sorry about that. I was just trying to pull a slider and I got really loose, so sorry about that. But, yeah, Kyle didn't go. on that last restart, he said his tires were jacked up, and he got to the second line, and I went, you can go. So, and luckily we were able to hold him off here. So, great discount tire Ford Mustang for us tonight. We lost track position early, but we made it back, and Jeremy Bullins and everyone on this team did an awesome job of making sure we got it back. And what a heck of a race we won at Bristol. Penske drivers 2 for 2. Hopefully they can make it 3 for 3 tomorrow night.
You got the lead now, 3 laps to go. You look in your mirror, and Kyle Busch is inching up. He's 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet away. What are you thinking?
Just not mess up. I lost a truck race here last year by getting tight and getting out of the groove and lost it to Kyle, and wanted to make sure I didn't do that again. And that was just good. I was driving my guts out there trying to stay ahead of him, and I know he was too. He'd messed up a couple times and getting back in, but what can I say about these guys? Thank Nationwide Insurance, Discount Tire, Hertz, Snap-on, SKF, everyone that helps us put this program on. So I'm really thankful to be here. Thank you, Roger, for giving me a chance. I'm looking forward to more of this year.
Hey, well done, young man. You are a winner at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Thank you, buddy.
Ryan Blaney, how about that? You beat Kyle Busch, sort of like outflying Superman. Busch had won 3 in a row, and Blaney does the great move on the restart. And gosh, and it apologizes for the first thing in victory lane because of the contact with Kyle Larson.
24 starts, 2 wins in the NASCAR Nationwide Series for Ryan Blaney. A late twist of plot tonight here in Bristol, and he's the one celebrating in victory lane. As we look at this, a thought on what you saw tonight and what we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, just great racing and frustration at times, and we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow night. Should be
I think you're right. So coming up tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 500 Lapper presented by AutoZone ABC at 7 Eastern Time. And coming up next is Sports Center. 50 minutes delayed by rain, but we got it all in, and Ryan Blaney won a thriller.